Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at 4 on this Tuesday. Hope you all had a great day. Busy show today.
Yes, it is. The National Night Out celebration is today. We're going to be joining you live from Warner Park in just a little bit. We'll talk to a member of the Madison Police Department.
Find out what's planned for this evening here in Madison. But first, here's what's making news on this Tuesday. Governor Walker comes out swinging at most of the Democrats running for governor about their position on criminal justice, and all 8 came swinging back.
The prosecution in the Paul Manafort trial wraps up its questioning of the key witness, and now Manafort's attorneys are going after Rick Gates' credibility.
And both sides reach a compromise in the naming of an art gallery at the UW Memorial Union.
Let's take a look outside today. Boy, it's been an on and off steady rain all day.
Yeah, it started out okay, but yeah, it's...
Flowers get a little drink.
And the bees doing their work. That's important stuff. The weather words for today... You know, I think I forgot to put them in. I don't know, did we ever get the weather today?
I think so.
This is a well-oiled machine.
Yes, absolutely. Hi,
Dave Caulfield.
I mean, weather words are weather words. We didn't get anything wrong there. We're just stating the obvious. But the weather words for today, back into the 80s tomorrow, because we are warming up a little bit throughout the next couple of days. But we're still watching some rain showers and clouds this afternoon into this evening. Could have a few more showers and thunderstorms come our way. Visible cloud track showing those gloomy conditions still with us across southern Wisconsin. Doppler track showing any rain showers have moved mainly to the north and east, but we still do have a chance of seeing some additional shower and thunderstorm activity. Live look in Platteville at those cloudy skies on our Queen Bee Radio Skycam. Temperatures right now are really stuck in the 70s, so it is cool, but still pretty humid outside. 72 in Madison, 75 in Janesville, and 74 in Boscobel. Dew points are in the mid to upper 60s, even some 70s showing up, so that mugginess really hasn't gone away. Visibility is a little bit better compared to this morning, but some more patchy fog possible overnight tonight into Wednesday. A live look in Madison on the WISC-TV Skycam. Maybe a break or two in the clouds, but that's about it. Chance of some additional thunderstorms over the next couple of hours with temperatures falling through the 70s into the 60s. Now, let's take a look at your first alert traffic update, taking a live look at the Beltline and Rimrock Road. Not looking too bad in either direction right now. On the Beltline, no major accidents or incidents to report across Dane County. Zooming in, we can see a couple of brake lights starting to form west of Park Street on the Beltline and a little bit closer to Seminole Highway. But other than that, not looking too bad for an afternoon on the Beltline. A couple more brake lights starting to show up closer to Stoughton Road. But everything showing up green on your drive times for Runner Road to John Nolan. That's 6 minutes. Pretty good for this time of day. Average speed of around 45 miles per hour. Some other routes in and around Madison. The Beltline to Janesville, 28 minutes. That's looking good as well, with an average speed of around 65 miles per hour. And that is your first alert traffic. We'll track these rain showers and talk about temperatures getting warmer as we head into next week in your first alert forecast in just a few minutes.
Back to the 80s, I hear.
Yes, Rubik's Cubes.
Wham!
And
Culture Club.
Exactly, all that synthesizer.
Okay,
gotta love it.
Looking forward to that. See you in a few minutes, Dave.
Thank you, Dave. First at 4, Governor Scott Walker is going after all of his Democratic opponents tonight on criminal justice issues 1 week ahead of the primary.
Those Democrats are pushing back this afternoon on the need to reduce the state prison population. Political reporter Jessica Harper is here with the back and forth today.
Well, yeah, this specific issue coming up today is whether to and how to reduce the state's prison population. Governor Walker holding a news conference this morning in the Milwaukee Police Association headquarters, saying that Democrats running for governor have been quoted as saying they want to reduce the state's prison population by half, and that doing so would force them to release violent criminals into the community.
I think this is dangerous. I think what they're proposing is dangerously liberal. It's based on a myth about the prison population. It's based on comparisons to other systems, either at the federal level and other states.
Many of the candidates for governor have said they have a goal of reducing the prison population by half, but have largely said they do so by creating diversion programs, legalizing marijuana, and once again issuing pardons in the state, including for low-level drug crimes. Now, the responses from Democrats started on Twitter. Democrat Malin Mitchell outlining steps he would take to end mass incarceration by ending the state's truth in sentencing law and banning the box to check for felonies on job applications. among other things. Kelderoy said, quote, "I refuse to be lectured on how to prepare our broken criminal justice system by the failed governor who helped break it," and said it was ridiculous that she would make the state less safe. Tony Evers said in a statement to News 3 that the state spends more money on corrections than the UW system and needs to get smarter on crime, saying he'd invest in drug courts and rehabilitation. Paul Soglin called Walker flippant and disingenuous and said there are people who have paid for their misdeeds that should be released. Josh Page said his campaign has not said that violent criminals should be released and that he wants to work on reforms. Mike McCabe said the state should not be locking up nonviolent offenders and emphasized sentencing alternatives, highlighting Minnesota's example. Kathleen Vinehout pointed out to Minnesota's example as well and said their prison population was half of Wisconsin's. And a spokesman for Matt Flynn said he was concerned about this issue and was focused on nonviolent marijuana offenses. Walker was also asked today whether, if reelected, he would visit a prison in the state. He said, quote, "There's no value in him doing so." Ultimately, Walker said he believes inmate job training is a better alternative to releasing some prisoners early. This is a hot topic, and I was you got to get through all eight.
We're out of time. Good night, everybody. Yeah, it is a hot topic, and the primary a week from today.
It is, yeah, and we will. We've outlined. We've been going over it. Rose Schmidt doing a great job over the last couple of weeks, trying to outline some of the positions that the Democratic candidates have on these varying issues. The governor obviously wanting to draw a strong contrast on this one in particular today.
All right, Jess. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Voters in one Ohio congressional district go to the polls today in the final special congressional election before November, and many are looking to this race as a preview of what could happen in the midterm elections. Ed O'Keefe has the latest from Columbus, Ohio.
Let's go win this thing.
Democrat Danny O'Connor rallied his volunteers Monday. He's facing Republican State Senator Troy Balderson.
It's going to be a tight race.
Who's earned endorsements from President Trump and Vice President Pence.
There's only one choice in this election. That's vote for Troy Balderson.
The president urged his supporters to turn out and attacked O'Connor over the weekend.
Danny O'Connor on his resume put stuff that wasn't true. He was like a low-level person that did nothing.
But O'Connor said he's not worried about Mr. Trump's involvement.
All these people parachuting in from Washington, D.C., they stay for a couple hours, they leave town. They're not folks who are going to our schools. They're not folks who are walking our streets.
Trump's appearance caused a last-minute headache for Balderson after Ohio Governor John Kasich suggested that Balderson didn't want the president's help.
I said, Troy, why did you invite Trump in here, the president? He said, no, I didn't.
But Balderson says Trump gave him a boost.
Did the president coming on Saturday help or hurt?
Huge help. A lot of enthusiasm. We were around the district yesterday, and that was a total conversation.
The rival campaign spent big money this summer on ads.
Let's fight back against drug and insurance company greed.
Liberals in Washington want to repeal the middle-class tax cuts.
But with momentum on O'Connor's side, his supporters think he'll win by convincing some Republicans to vote for him.
They're interested in new leadership, in fresh energy.
Democrats point out that this congressional district is similar to other parts of the country where they think they can be competitive this fall. President Trump won here in 2016 by 11 points. So if Democrats win here tonight, it suggests we may be in for a bigger blue wave this November than anticipated. Ed O'Keefe, CBS News, Columbus, Ohio.
The GOP has held the seat in Ohio's 12th congressional district since the early 1980s.
Well, prosecutors have finished questioning Paul Manafort's longtime deputy in his financial fraud trial. Rick Gates admitted that at Manafort's direction, he falsified tax returns, hid millions of dollars from Ukrainian operatives, failed to report foreign bank accounts, and failed to register Manafort as a foreign agent. But a lawyer for Manafort has suggested to the government's star witness that he has, quote, told so many lies that you can't even remember them. Special counsel Robert Mueller's team agreed to cut a deal with Gates, offering leniency in exchange for his testimony against Manafort.
An autopsy is being done this afternoon on the body of a man found in the Rock River. His body was found near the Centerway Dam yesterday afternoon. Police say they suspect the man was homeless and somehow ended up in the river.
A decision has been made in the controversy over the name of the Porter Butts Art Gallery at UW-Madison. The gallery was named after a man who belonged to a 1920s student group called the Ku Klux Klan.
That is reportedly not to be confused with the real Knights of the KKK. After a pushback between students and the family, they have come to a positive agreement. Jamie Perez spoke to both sides today to see how they came to this decision and what the decision was. Jamie?
Well, they're not covering the name after all like they had originally planned. They've instead decided to rename the gallery and just relocate to the tribute to Porter Butts to a different spot. And from what it sounds like with the positive changes going forward, both sides are happy with the decision. Now, this whole debate on the gallery started after the violence in Charlottesville, Virginia last year. But after careful research into that group, turns out that KKK had no association with the National Klan. The group he belonged to was a social group of leading members of fraternities on campus. According to his daughter, Porter had expressed his thoughts on the name of the group as unfortunate, and it was renamed shortly after he joined. I spoke to his daughter today, who says her father was perceived in the wrong light by association with a group that was strangely named.
And the art gallery honoring him showed one aspect of my dad, but there are so many other aspects of him that were not known. And we want now to show, here are all the unrecognized contributions that my father has made to the university and to the union and to the whole college student movement.
She added her father, Porter, was a professional and accepting person and someone who tried to make sure everyone was accepted during a time when bigotry and racism were so normalized. Coming up tonight at 5, what the union is saying about the decision and what the plans are for the current gallery. Plus, the bigger issue the family says is still unaddressed.
We will see you at 5. Jamie Perez in the newsroom. Thank you, Jamie.
More hot temperatures and windy conditions are fueling wildfires in California. The 4,000-acre wildfire known as the Holy Fire forced evacuations and sent plumes of ash into the city of Corona. The Holy Fire started yesterday afternoon on the west side of the Santa Ana Mountains. It quickly spread and was only 2% contained as of this morning.
There are high expectations for success by this year's Badger football team, and that recognition continues to grow. The offensive line for the team is featured on this week's cover of Sports Illustrated, one of 4 regional covers in the country as part of the magazine's annual college football preview. They also picked the Badgers, by the way, as one of the 4 teams to make the college football playoffs, along with Washington, Alabama, and Clemson.
Well, it should be an exciting season.
Very exciting. Can't wait.
Yep. I mean, CBS Sports picked them 5th in the country, too, so that's right up there.
That's very exciting.
Yep. Well, there's more to come at 4. We'll tell you about a new nonstop flight from Madison.
Plus, making a difference 2,000 miles away, a local group's potentially life-saving journey when Live at 4 continues.
Well, Ford Motor Company is unveiling its plan to use wearable technology to lighten the load on some of its human workers.
Exoskeleton vests are being introduced in 15 auto plants in 7 countries. They're meant to protect workers against repetitive stress injuries, and they help maintain good posture. They add up to 15 pounds of support to each arm when they're raised up.
Wearing the suit, I'm not, I'm tired. I can go home and have fun, go play catch with the daughter.
Exoskeletons date back to at least the 1960s when General Electric developed this giant prototype for the military. And they've shown a lot of promise in helping people with spinal cord injuries walk.
Well, Frontier Airlines adding new nonstop flights to Phoenix from the Dane County Regional Airport. The seasonal flights will be offered on Wednesday and Saturdays beginning in November. Stocks closed in the positive territory all around on Wall Street. The Dow Industrials added 126 points, closing at 25,628. The Nasdaq Composite Index was up almost 24. The S&P 500 gained 8. Well, living between 2 lakes and in a country where it's the norm to have multiple sources of clean water in your own home, it's hard to imagine the struggle millions of people around the world face every day.
News 3's Christina Laurie and photojournalist Mark Schilling share the struggle of those in Honduras and how volunteers from Madison are making a difference in their lives forever.
We know that when people see Americans coming, it's something great is going to happen.
From Mount Horeb to Honduras, volunteers from local churches are making a 2,000-mile trip to do something good for people they've never met.
Casa es agua.
And I see how the people are united.
Where the water is fresh and clean.
In less than 1 week, the group, together with Living Water International, will build a well, the lifeline a community needs to live. People here in the town of El Triangulo have water.
The problem is, it's not clean water. That's the biggest problem. It's not clean water.
For generations, they've been drinking water from a reservoir in the mountains. It's runoff water, though, sometimes contaminated, oftentimes leaving people in the village sick.
Germs is all over. So if they learn to keep their hand clean, it helps them to get sick that much.
With the new well, the 30 families living in El Triangulo will have access to clean water to drink and to clean themselves.
It hit me how far we'd have to go to get water. Buenos dias.
Many of the Madison area volunteers on this trip, like Beth Wittenweiler, are on a repeat mission.
Gracias. Buenos dias.
Beth's been involved for 8 years.
And then you start thinking, well, how often do we use water? And that the conveniences that we have.
These trips remind volunteers how good we have it in America.
If it was only our staff in Honduras, maybe we wouldn't see that many people getting close to the rig. But when they see Americans, they know something good is coming for the community.
After 4 days of digging, drilling, and dedicating dozens of hours to making a difference,
hard working man, right there.
the well is finished.
Good. And when you see the emotion of the people when you finish the project, and you see water flowing, is what it changed your life. It changed your life.
For Hondurans like Nugget, faith runs as deep as his community's new 70-foot well.
God has been with us all these years. He has never left us.
And faith-filled Madison area volunteers agree.
And so we just thought, well, this is simple. Let's just go and put in some clean water wells. One at a time. What a difference that could make, one at a time. And then it just hit me. This could really change the world.
Donning his Badger cap, John Schmidt, volunteer coordinator with Living Water International, leads the dedication ceremony, officially presenting the new well to the village.
We may not communicate very well in our English and Spanish.
Quizás no nos comunicamos tan muy bien entre español e inglés.
We're working on it.
Pero estamos trabajando en eso.
Un poquito.
Sí,
But the love that you've shown us
Pero el amor que ustedes nos han mostrado a nosotros
doesn't require words.
Son mucho más que palabras.
It's on your face.
Está en sus caras.
You share your children with us. Han compartido sus hijos con nosotros. We work alongside you. Hemos trabajado a la par de ustedes. That's the way God's kingdom should be.
These Americans from Mount Horeb and their new Honduran friends know this may be the last time they ever see each other, going back to their separate lives 2,000 miles apart.
But we know we'll walk together with our Lord.
Pero sabemos que caminamos juntamente con el Señor.
And I'll know all of your names then.
Y sé todos sus nombres.
Thank you all very, very much.
Gracias, gracias, muchas gracias.
Something we all take so for granted.
Absolutely.
Photojournalist Mark Schilling was one of the volunteers on that Living Water International mission trip to Honduras.
And volunteers from his church and others in the Madison area are already planning future missions. They'll head to El Salvador next fall.
Doing something good.
You're doing something good. Thank you, Mark, for all your work. And still to come at 4, a Good Samaritan comes to the aid of the country great Keith Urban.
The problem is she doesn't believe it really is Keith Urban. We'll sort it all out, and now you may have seen this because I think it's gone viral now. That's all coming up after Dave's much warmer forecast.
Well, take a look at this. South Africa now holds the Guinness World Record for making the longest crochet scarf. Volunteers at a local charity recently put together a scarf measuring over 16.78 miles long.
Hello.
Almost 17 miles. The project saw various people crochet and join colorful scarves together as part of the celebration to mark the 100th anniversary of the birth of Nelson Mandela. Some of the pieces of the scarf came from all over the world as people wanted to take part in this endeavor, honoring South Africa's first black president who died in 2013.
That drone footage puts it in perspective.
Wow.
Really amazing.
Very
17
pretty.
miles.
It's Tuesday, August 7th. It's National Lighthouse Day, a beacon of light that for hundreds of years symbolized safety and security for ships and boats at sea. The oldest existing lighthouse in the U.S., Sandy Hook Lighthouse in New Jersey. I think I went to it as a kid. Built in 1764, it's still in operation.
Wow.
My mom was obsessed with lighthouses, so we went to them all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, you grew up not far from that.
Yeah, not too far.
Remember the Cana Island Lighthouse in Door County? We went to see that. I love them too. It is particularly preposterous packaging day.
You know what we're talking about.
That's a lot of alliteration for anxious anchors placed in powerful posts.
Oh my gosh.
That's from Broadcast News. It's one of my favorite lines ever, the movie Broadcast News.
And it's National Raspberries and Cream Day. At one time, raspberries a midsummer crop, but with new technology, cultivars, and transportation, you can enjoy raspberries all year long. But you know, that sort of takes away some of the allure of them.
What's that?
You only could get them like in the middle of the summer otherwise.
Do they taste not as good because you can get them all year round, or?
Well, the best ones come from our director Nicole's backyard.
Oh, see, that's the thing. The fresh ones taste so different than the ones you get in the grocery store.
These are
good stuff.
all right. Well, enjoy your raspberries.
Yeah.
And summer weather returns.
Yes, as we head into the next couple of days. Today has been pretty cool with the clouds and rain, but we'll welcome back the 80s as we go into the rest of this week. We'll talk about that, plus a couple more rain chances on the way in your first alert forecast in just a few minutes. Good afternoon. I hope you're having a great Tuesday so far. A couple of showers and maybe a few thunderstorms for some of us have come our way today. What else is new? For the very rainy start to August, it's kind of become the norm to see some green on satellite and radar. Still, that humid weather does not want to say goodbye. It never can say goodbye, it seems at least. Warm front close to us, and we do have a surface trough close enough to us to bring us some additional shower and thunderstorm chances throughout this evening, but I do think they'll wrap up by tonight. Doppler track showing our first round is pretty much done and dusted, but still watching those showers and thunderstorms closer to Minnesota and Iowa and into portions of northwestern Wisconsin, but so far not too much going on, at least right now, for southern Wisconsin. I mentioned this very rainy start. Now, not a whole lot of rain just yet. Definitely above normal, but it's the rainy days that has been noteworthy. 6 out of the first 7 days of August have featured at least a trace of rain. That's the first time that's happened since 1995, already up to 1.17 inches of rain. Average for the entire month is just over 4 inches. So we're about 3 to 4/10 of an inch of rain. This is as of yesterday, ahead of schedule. And we're about that in Milwaukee as well. But really where you start to see those differences is across northeastern Iowa. About 2 to 3 inches of rain ahead of schedule just to start the month of August. So we could potentially add to those numbers over the next day or so. I do think that we'll have some dry days ahead of us, though, so that's good news. Our time lapse in Madison on the Edgewater Skycam, maybe a little bit of sunshine, actually, to start us out today, but we saw the clouds for much of today. It's been a gloomy day overall, and maybe some breaks in those clouds right now, but they're pretty hard to come by. We're looking at mostly cloudy skies today. Those clouds have kept us cooler, and the rain has as well. 73 the high, so well below normal of 80 for this time of year. But as we head into the next couple of days and the next week in general, I do think that we'll be above normal in temperature land with highs this time of year right in the low 80s. We'll be in the mid 80s, and we could push into the upper 80s with heat index values into the mid 90s at times by next week. So far this year in 2018, we've hit 90 degrees in Madison 9 times. That's well above the last 4 years, but we're encroaching on that 2013 number of 11. It's possible that we could touch 90 as we head into next week, but over the next couple of days, just a little bit above normal. We'll see. I don't think we're getting anywhere close to that 2012 number of almost 40 days of 90-degree heat. Tonight, temperatures in the low 60s, showers and thunderstorms ending, and some more fog could be forming late. Tomorrow, we're back into the 80s, partly sunny, warm, with temperatures in the low to mid 80s. Future track showing things still could be a little bit rainy and stormy over the next couple of hours, but I do think those showers wrap up by the time we get to early Wednesday. Wednesday, we stay dry. Temperatures warming up a little bit. We see more of that sunshine coming in with highs in the low to mid 80s. Thursday, future track not that optimistic, but we'll go ahead and keep that chance of showers in the forecast for Thursday, and then slight chances of showers and storms Friday and Saturday. But I wouldn't cancel any plans over those. Don't shift any schedules. We're just going to have that umbrella at the ready as we head into Friday and Saturday. Sunday, though, the weekend overall, not looking bad one bit. We're in the mid 80s with plenty of sunshine on Sunday and Monday, then gradually creeping through the 80s into next week with a couple of chances for showers and storms. By the start of next weekend, I should say, temperatures close to 90 and could feel like the mid to upper 90s at times.
So we could hit 90 again.
Yes, it's not out of the question. It doesn't look that likely right now, but a couple of degrees here and there, we can definitely do it.
We've had our share this summer.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have to. No. Nature, we don't have to. I'm not saying we have to.
80s are great. I mean,
yes.
It's August. We got to expect that.
Sure.
All right, Dave. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
This sounds like a joke. A New Jersey woman walks into a gas station and meets Keith Urban.
And to make the once-in-a-lifetime encounter even more special, she helped the country music star pay his tab. Cleve Bryan has the story.
We decided when we saw military people, we would treat them at Wawa or Dunkin' Donuts or whatever.
Ruth Reed and her husband have made it a habit to pick up people's tabs at Wawa. A few years ago, she made a New Year's resolution to do it weekly. So this past Friday, when she saw a customer in front of her at the Wawa on Route 541 in Medford having an issue at the register, She jumped at the opportunity to help.
It looked like he was using a card and it didn't go through, and then he asked a young lady for $5, and I thought, this is it. No, I'll get it.
But as she was paying, she kept thinking, this guy looks familiar.
And I go out, what's your name, Ruth? And he said, Ruth, I'm Keith. And I said, that's who you look like, Keith Urban. Do people ever tell you you look like Keith Urban? And he said, I am Keith Urban. I said, no, you're not, really.
Reed admits she took some convincing.
And I said, really? Really? Then where's Nicole? And who was that woman you were with? And snippy, not nice. And so...
You got snippy with Keith Urban.
Yes. And then he said, it's my sister. We can ask her. I said, okay, I don't think she would lie to some old lady.
Then Reed noticed Urban's bodyguards and realized she really had just paid for Keith Urban.
And I just fell apart. I just fell apart, and he was gracious.
Reed says Urban stuck $5 in the donation box at the register and happily took this picture with her.
And he really could have said, lady, get away from me. And he didn't. He was very kind.
Now, Reed, who is very shy, has been getting a lot of attention over her interaction with Keith Urban, and she only agreed to do an interview with us on one condition, that we tell others about the importance of doing acts of kindness. In Medford, Cleve Bryan, CBS 3 Eyewitness News.
That's very nice.
My question is, why didn't Keith Urban have $5?
That's what everybody's asking. I know. Well, sometimes it happens.
That's a funny story.
I know, she's a sweetie.
Well, line drying your clothes may feel like a throwback.
But Consumer Reports has some very progressive reasons to consider ditching your dryer. That's coming up next on Live at 4.
A live look from our Platteville camera at the Queen Bee radio stations. Nice Summery day on a platform.
Corn looking good.
Yeah, crops are looking good out there. Well, in this day and age, most people don't think twice about the way they do their laundry.
But experts at Consumer Reports say there are a lot of reasons to go old school by giving up your dryer and line drying your clothes. Here's our Leah Linscheid.
Gail Wind considers herself a fairly progressive woman, except when it comes to laundry. She's been line drying her laundry for nearly 40 years, which has made her somewhat of a neighborhood meteorologist.
My neighbor across the street one morning, she goes, I always check to see if you have laundry out, because then I know it's going to be a nice day.
A bit old-fashioned? Maybe, but laundry experts at Consumer Reports say there are some very modern reasons to ditch your dryer. Like the fact that it's one of the top 7 energy users in your home.
They use a ton of electricity. About 4% of most household electricity is used in a dryer. But they also break down the fibers in your clothes over time from the high heat of the cycle.
Ready to give line drying a shot? Start by hanging a clothesline in a sunny spot away from the birds. And get some durable clothespins that open easily. When you're ready to hang, shake items out first to lessen wrinkles. And hang shirts from the bottom and pants and skirts from the waistband to help make clothespin marks less obvious. It's also a good idea to fold knits right over the line to help avoid puckering or stretching. Plus, on top of the fresh scent, line drying provides another bonus.
The sun's actually pretty powerful. It can fight stains. It can even bleach your whites and make them brighter.
Which also means you should turn things like dark jeans inside out to reduce fading. One of the many tricks Gail Wind already knows. For WISC News 3, I'm Leah Linscheid.
Her name is Gail Wind?
Yeah. It seems like a little more work, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe it's worth it.
I have a neighbor on the walk with the dogs. She puts her laundry out every day.
It does smell good when you air dry it, I think. And Consumer Reports also says it's equally important to know what not to dry, what to line dry, like down jackets and sleeping bags. You don't want to hang them on the line outside because they actually fluff up better when you put them in a dryer with a tennis ball.
And you should think twice about line drying at all if your family has allergies, as pollen can collect in your laundry when you hang it outside. I have some clothes I don't want the neighbors to see.
Then you keep your dryer.
Keep the dryer on. Next at 4 is National Night Out tonight across the country.
When we come back, we'll find out what's happening in Madison this evening. That's when Live at 4 continues.
Good afternoon. Here is your Tuesday First Alert traffic update. Taking a live look at Rimrock Road and the Beltline, starting to see those slowdowns and stop and go traffic on the Beltline in the eastbound direction. No major accidents or incidents across Dane County, but as we zoom in, we can see more and more brake lights starting to show up, especially eastbound on the Beltline, as you might expect. During that stretch, we're talking about speeds of about 20 to 35 miles per hour. So your drive times, Verona Road to John Nolan, a little bit slow, 10 minutes, average speed of around 25 miles per hour. Looking in the other direction, things are looking better. Westbound, Verona Road to University Ave, that's 6 minutes, average speed right around 60 miles per hour. And that is your First Alert traffic update.
All right, Dave, thank you. It is Uber Amish style. Timothy Hochstetter of Cologne, Michigan, is putting a new spin on ride sharing. Tim gives customers a lift with his horse and buggy, and riders really seem to like it. Hochstetter calls it Amish Uber, and for just $5, he says people get more than a ride. They get an experience.
Great idea.
It is National Night Out tonight in Madison.
The annual event is a chance for people to meet the police officers who work in their neighborhoods to keep Madison a safe community. National Night Out is at Warner Park on Madison's north side this year. And joining us from just outside the duck pond is Madison Police Captain Brian Ackred. Hi, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Hi, Susan, Mark, glad to be here.
Great to see you. So this is a tradition 30-plus years strong. Tell us a little bit about what you hope to accomplish tonight at National Night Out.
Well, the City of Madison is one of many agencies across the entire country that participates in National Night Out. It's just a time for the police to get out and bring the community out, neighbors to come out, meet each other, and we show off some of the tools of our trade, including our squad cars. Our specialty units will be out here. Obviously, our mounted, I think you can see behind me here.
Yeah, he just came in a screen there. So what are people going to experience tonight when they come out to the duck pond?
Well, it's mainly a chance to interact with officers and some of our equipment we have. We've got our armored rescue vehicle that's used by the SWAT team. We've got our mounted unit, our K9. We've got an unmanned aircraft system, otherwise known as a drone. That's new to our department this year, that members of that team will be out showing off some of the things that piece of equipment can do as well.
And why is this beneficial and important in the neighborhood where you work?
Well, we know in order to keep Madison as safe as possible, we as the police can't do it ourselves. It's a combination of police working hand in hand with the community, the businesses, the people who live here, the people who work here, and we can't do it alone. We need as many people working with us as witnesses, keeping each other safe, looking out for one another, and most importantly, calling us when they see something that needs our attention, and then working with us to make Madison a safer place.
Do you see this more a need now than it was 30, 35 years ago when this program started?
Well, I think the concept has been around, as long as I've been here, which is almost that 35 years. The need now is certainly not diminished any. At a time when our city is growing, and unfortunately we've seen somewhat in the last few years an uptick in some violent crime, it's time for people to take back their neighborhoods, their areas, and work with us together. We need to do a better job of getting out from behind our squad cars more, getting out and communicating, walking, talking to people, and working together.
And be more human in the communities. Take the mystique out of the badge and the squad.
Yeah, well, it's certainly something we're aware of. It's not unique here to Madison. It's kind of a national phenomenon in the last several years, where there's been some tensions and some racial tensions, and we understand what we're up against. In that, once you start talking to people, though, and like you said, that human side, what's behind the badge, getting to know people as who they are, and it's us getting to know the people that we're working with as well. Everybody's got a story. Everybody's got something that's brought them here to Madison, either born here or come here looking for a better way of life. And everybody brings some assets and some strengths to their neighborhoods. And it's a matter of us as police learning what people's strengths are and what makes them special. And then in turn, people getting to know us as people as well, and that, why we got into this job. We didn't get into this job to do anything but try to help people and try to make this a better place.
Well, National Night Out starts at 5 o'clock at Warner Park. Thanks for being with us today. Hope you have a great turnout, and Brian, thanks for being with us
Brian,
again.
great to see you. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Also
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Also, national night outs are being held in Verona, Beloit, and Middleton, so check that out.
Great, cool to see the mounted patrol,
Yeah,
too.
it is.
Wow.
It's always... Okay, and it should be a good night for that.
Yes.
We'll get Dave's forecast in just a sec. Maybe a shower or two?
Yes, for National Night Out, bring the umbrella out with you just because you might need it. Hopefully you don't. Just a couple of showers and thunderstorms still out there. Could move in over the next couple of hours. Temperatures are in the 70s, so not too warm out, but we will be cooling down into the 60s with some fog to start tomorrow. Then we'll be in the low to mid 80s once again with a little bit more sunshine. So nice day shaping up for Wednesday.
But still humid. You want to open the windows, but you can't.
Yes. Hopefully it gets out of here by Thursday.
All right.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Dave. Coming up tomorrow here on Live at 4, we go behind the wheel with Harvey Briggs and the 3-row family hauler, the Kia Sorento.
And we'll preview the 17th anniversary of Concert in the Park, showcasing the talent of the Wisconsin Youth Symphony Orchestra. That's coming up tomorrow on Live at 4. In today's Final Touch, it's the 12 Hours of Sussex, England.
Doesn't quite have the ring of the 24 Hours of Le Mans, but gentlemen, start your lawnmowers. 43 teams from around the world competed in a